Hey guys, Annie here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we're in the world of Copperdale and we are building a 2x1 family home. For this particular build, the storyline is based off of two siblings, brother and sister, who live together. Teenagers actually can live outside of the family home in The Sims. You don't necessarily have to have a young adult or adult present. So I thought, why not build this? And this storyline is quite interesting because it actually mimics very similar to my real life, because there was a portion in time where I lived with my older brother, and even the personalities of the Sims are slightly similar to mine and my brother's own personalities. So I actually find this one quite interesting. I really adore this house. This particular build I did design on grid paper, like the floor plan. I am having a lot of issues roofing this. I did cut a lot of it out, and the main reason was because when you focus more on the floor plan and the inside, sometimes it's really hard to, perfect the exterior and still make the exterior look really good, which in the end of the day, the facade of the build is really important. Anyway, I think we get that. The only thing I will say about this particular build is I don't know if it fits the lot and the world that it's in. I wanted to build in Copperdale because it's a teens only home and I wanted to utilize, a lot of high school years. But it is a brick and sliding home. So I don't know if brick and sliding is what you would find in this kind of area in Copperdale. Potentially, if this build was in maybe like the downtown town square portion of Copperdale, it might be better suited. But anyway, I digress. I really enjoy this build. If you do as well, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. I would love to know your thoughts on today's build. I really enjoyed it. For the exterior, we use a lot of seasons and base game. When I talk about using a lot of high school years, it's more for the internal decorations, especially for those bedrooms, and the living space especially uses a lot of high school years. But I really love these seasons, windows and whatnot. They kind of give cabin in the wood vibes, which is definitely what should be on this type of lot. This definitely gives that vibe. And we do change the sliding. We definitely use a brick. It's just a base game wallpaper, but I think it's I think it fits really well with this particular build. We have a small backyard, but I think that's okay. I did want to, I used a lot of debug for the landscaping. I wanted to try to make this build a little affordable. I can't actually remember how expensive it is, but yes, anyway, that is kind of like the briefing of today's build. Let's talk about the floor plan because we have just done the floor plan. So you walk in and you have your entryway. You have a door that leads into the first bedroom, which is the female teen's room. This particular teen is very much into fashion and like the trendy outfits and like thrift shopping and all that. She's very creative. That's the type of sim I would predict living in that first room. The house then wraps around in kind of a U shape. You then would walk through to the open living, kitchen and dining area. You then would wrap around towards the back of the build into the second room, which is the room with the blue and the, the colored striped wallpaper. That is the boys' room. That is the brother's room. And I love this little addition with the different doors. So these doors come from high school years and they have stickers and, different things and graphics on them that, potentially depict the personality of the sim that resides in that space, which I thought was quite cool. In the center of the build is the bathroom. So that's what creates that U shape in the floor plan, which I really enjoy. I think that it really works for this particular build. I think we actually have space for pets in this build as well. And just a little bit more on that storyline, because for the month of September, all our builds have a storyline. I utilized a storyline to help me build and design and execute all of this month's content. And for this one, they're very different siblings, like they're different in terms of their personalities and what things that they like. But I do feel that they would host parties and they would have fun. And there's like, I do think that there is definitely like a gamer part. You know, they're both gamers. Maybe they do tournaments. Maybe they stream. That kind of vibe. And I definitely think it would be a teen hangout space. I did put room, as I said, for a pet. I think I have a cat in this particular build. I can't remember. We'll see in a minute. But yeah. And I love the idea of this build. I think it's beautiful. And the floor plan is so good. I was playing around with the general wallpaper of the house. It did take me a bit. I do settle on this particular wallpaper. And I went with this because, what do I go with the yellow? I think I keep the brown. I think maybe. If I do, I think it's because the base game brick and sliding wallpaper is a bit old and dated, and that base game wallpaper that's, you know, got the skirting, the detailed skirting, just fits that type of style. Yeah. All right, we are starting off the decorating with the kitchen. This is just a U-shaped kitchen that kind of it has a little bit of an island, and it wraps around to kind of lead you to the back of the property. That's where the back door is, just through there. I love this little shape. I think it's a great use of the space. We of course use the bin from high school years. I used the fridge that came with the kitchen clutter kit because of all the magnets and all of the cutesy little things. It's such a family fridge, and I think that for teens it's still quite good. All right, I didn't have much of a dining table. I don't know how many people actually eat at a table. I didn't really eat at a table much growing up, especially when I lived with my brother. I didn't. So I have put somewhat of a space there. You could also eat at the island. And this is where we have that kind of gamers section where you have the TV. I think I'm putting in a gaming console very shortly. The bean bags, I love those bean bags. Paired with the high school years couch, really lovely. And that kind of set the color scheme of the build. Sometimes the first room I kind of decorate does kind of set the tone for the rest of the house. Generally, I start with the living area, mostly the kitchen or the living room. So if we just base off that, you should be seeing a lot of oranges, a lot of reds, a lot of blues, maybe greens. They're the type of colors that you'll be finding in this home. We are outside doing the landscaping, it looks like. I am in the debug menu. High School Years actually has a decent debug menu, and I use the debug menu for this particular build because we are in the forest. So I wanted to utilize all of those assets that are around us, which you can find in the debug menu. We also use a fence that comes in the debug menu. It's not too bad. I think that it works. I didn't want a high fence, so I think that I kept with this. I love these big planters, these wooden planters. These are lovely. I do put I think I put some flowers in there. Maybe some azaleas. Yeah, some azaleas. What else is that? Those beautiful white layloing flowers are really lovely. The daisies. Paired it with a little bit of purple just for a pop of color. And I think I'll be putting the staircase back in. I love those kind of rustic looking garden plots. They actually come from the downtown area of the world in Copperdale, so they were quite good. And I do believe we just put a seating area out there. I don't think we put very much. I'm just going to put a little bit of pathing. I think we might even put like a bike and stuff out here, which I think is a good use of the space. Putting dirt under all of the plants and trees, and automatically this build just comes alive. It's amazing what landscaping does. But just adding in some extra white flowers just to kind of really make the building pop. And we will be adding, I believe, some potted flowers underneath the window sills. I have used the kind of trellises that come with high school years. I've used the trash cans that come with high school years. I added some of these businesses and hobbies kind of homemade ceramics. I probably could have used the standard ones, but I liked the material of them. They paired well with the color scheme of the home. Yep, just putting some shrubs, just had some empty space back here, so just thought I'd add something there. Lots of rocks to add dimension to the landscaping. So one thing that I've been learning with landscaping is, you know, layering of your plants and like sizing up and sizing down and using rocks to add dimension and, you know, things like outdoor lights and all of that really help. I've added a speaker, a chess table. That's the chess table we got with high school years. So that's really good. The doors actually come from Growing Together, not base game. So that's interesting to note. The little doormat that comes with For Rent, just to kind of go with that orange theme. Yeah, so as I said, I really enjoy this house. This is the time of the build where it was really coming together and I was really like in love with it. I think that, yeah, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree with the wallpaper of the exterior? Do you think that it could have been a different color? Do you think that it fits in this space? A different material perhaps? Because I do think you could put this exact build in Newcrest. You could put this exact build even in like Brindleton Bay, this would work. So it's yeah, I think it's more like a suburban style exterior. I think the inside would work anywhere, but yeah. All right, we are back in the kitchen. We are putting in all our upper cabinetry and probably cluttering up that space. I've also used the sink that comes with the kitchen clutter kit as well. Just putting in a few decorations. I did kind of consider the fact that they are teenagers and they wouldn't have as much stuff as, I don't know, like, unless they were into cooking, they probably wouldn't have all of the gizmos and gadgets and appliances. So I put in a few things because I thought that would be realistic. I put in a wall phone. I put in a recipe book. I myself like to cook, so I thought that was realistic. I love this little raccoon painting. We got this with Businesses and Hobbies as I think part of like a collectible with the whole like raccoon thing where they kind of edited the original base game paintings. And I just love the color scheme. It fits so well with this. That kind of burnt yellow, goldenish mustard color backsplash in the kitchen really complements the orange and the blues and stuff that we use in the living room. All right, so I've put in all of the necessity appliance stuff, all of appliances, alarms, a burglar alarm and temperature controls, just a buffet table and a mirror. So this is the entryway. This is the front of the build. You have the teen sister, that bedroom right there. And then I just put this, I forget that this exists. It's kind of like a hutch. It's what you would see in like a mud room, I guess. I forget we have them in the game, so I thought I'd add that. It was a good addition. Looks like it is a cat because I've just put a cat tree. This is towards the back of the property. This is to as you go out the back door. This is not as big as the entryway. So I just kind of added a few things in this space just so it wasn't empty. All right, we do only have one bathroom in this particular build. It is a decent sized bathroom, which is good because we're sharing, two teens are sharing a bathroom. I add a ton of clutter from the bathroom clutter kit and just some base game stuff. The shower tub comes from Growing Together, and I think that's just a base game toilet. I put in a hairdryer, some makeup stuff, and some soap. So yeah, I used a lot of the bathroom clutter kit, which is so fun. I love that kit. I slept on that kit a lot as well. Like it took me a while to get it, but I'm so glad I have it. I put in a wall hanging piece just to add a bit of greenery. And my favorite mirror of the game, well, one of, that comes with Get Together. All right, I think we are now into what is my favorite part of the entire build, these two bedrooms. We are going to start with the female room, which is in the front of the build, and it is that beautiful pink kind of raspberry color scheme that's paired with like the beige color. This lamp from Business and Hobbies, that kind of baby pink that has the checkers, fits this room so perfectly. I almost want to say that lamp itself was the inspiration to this room. I love it so much. I still wanted to have all of the same things you would have in a bedroom, your dresser. I do like to include desks, especially because they're teenagers. These one tile desks that we got with City Living was really good. I could have also used the one that came with Business and Hobbies, but I didn't like the texture of it because, yeah, anyway. I thought a hanging rack instead of a dresser might be better for this particular sim. Sim is into fashion. I love this little chair with the draping blanket. It's so cool. I've paired a lot of pastel pop with high school years in this particular space. And I did want this to be a very cluttered room. These curtains were interesting. So these actually come from Paranormal Stuff. I don't ever use these, but I did in that room because I liked the little draping beads that were off the curtain. I thought that, you know, it adds in a little bit more materials. I love to have different types of materials in all my rooms. All right, we are into the brother's room, or the second teen bedroom. We've got the full gamer kind of computer. I've got a basketball in there. That's to also help imply that they're sporty. This particular bed looks so cool. It was part of a base game update for Pride Month, which I believe was a couple of months ago. Back in February or March, I want to say we got this bed, and it was great. It paired really well with the wallpaper. You can tell I'm just really leaning into that explosion of color in this particular space. I just put so many gizmos and gadgets in this room. Boxes and sporting equipment and, you know, clutter on the ground, a bookcase, some gym stuff. Just tried to make it look masculine. I struggle sometimes with bedrooms. Like, a lot of my master bedrooms are all girly. But no, I think I did okay in this build. I put in some sporting posters, some gaming posters. I put in a university poster. Maybe they're heading that way. I never use, yeah. Alrighty, we are live in game and we're going to go through a quick tour. So you enter in, you have your entranceway. You head to the right into the living room, dining and kitchen. You wrap around to the other side of the build and you go through the back section where there is the back door into the only bathroom in the home, which is sandwiched in the middle of the build, into the male teens room or the brother. And then if you kind of wrap around back to the front, you have the female teens room in there. Beautiful. I have to say the females room is the better one. You head outside, you have the chess table, and you just have a very basic area. I did put in a football, which was really good. I'm glad I remembered that. Chess table, seating area, grill, just a solid home. I did forget to put curtains, so we are going back around with just these base game curtains. I used them in one of the bedrooms, so it was very easy to just add them in. So I'm pretty sure we are just doing that. And that is the build today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. As I said, if you like this build, please leave a comment and a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.